quite quickly. There is a lab. I honestly wouldn't invest the time in doing it. It's an optional lab. If you really have nothing better to do, then have a play with it. But you'll see this is really very straightforward. So we're going to talk about object changes. And the change workflow for an object change is slightly different. We start by creating a new request. You choose the device you want to work on, and then you choose the action. What do you want to do? Do you want to create a new object or delete an existing object or add or remove IPs from an existing object? That's going to be our request and pretty much our plan. I'll say that I occasionally get pushback on this and also the next few sections. An object change is so trivial. Why do I have to go through the whole fire flow, blah, 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 plan stage, this, that, the other, approve? And the answer is that we are really trying to document all our changes. We are imposing that workflow, that very strict workflow onto a change. So whilst it's a trivial change, we still want to have it documented properly. It may be trivial that you're adding IPs to an existing object, but you want to have that recorded somewhere. And this is the best place to do it. So let's follow on through. So this is our change request. Checkpoint has a slightly wider range in that you can create groups, or rather, you can create host groups, and you can add values and remove values from a group. Then we get to the plan stage. No traffic simulation query. There's nothing really to plan here, but we're just showing in the plan stage the changes that we want to make. And we have this button that says find affected rules. Okay, what rules use these objects that I'm talking about here? Okay, so this is a new one, so it doesn't matter. Are there any rules that use, excuse me, the office object? And you'll be able to see the list of affected rules and do some due diligence to make sure that you're not going to break anything. Then we implement. You have a work order. Through the UI, there isn't any active change for objects. You can use the API to do a active change on objects. In the UI, you can't, so you would take this work order, make the change manually, and then tell Fireflow that you've done it. But again, you are documenting that change. Once you've deployed it, we have a validation stage, and it just makes sure that we did exactly what we were supposed to do. We deleted the right object. We created the right object with the right IPs. We added the right IPs to the object, or we removed the right IPs from the object. There is no match stage for object changes. Okay, service objects, pretty similar, except that you have the capability to add and remove values from a group, and you can actually create a new group as well. But other than that, the workflow is exactly the same. We start by creating a request. We have a plan. We look in the plan stage for rules that are affected or use that object that we're going to work on. The approve stage, it goes to security and they see what we're going to do, but there is no risk check, obviously. So all we're saying to security is, just click the button, just rubber stamp it to say, yeah, I've seen it. Then at least somebody else in the organization is aware of what's happening. Okay, you're adding an IP. Okay, but somebody else knows, and it's documented and it's time-stamped, just like the rest of Fireflow changes. Go ahead. Yes,
yeah,
please.
Question, what is the difference between a group and an object?
So you can actually have groups of service objects.
So group is just a aggregated bunch of objects.
Yeah. It depends on the vendor, but this is usually what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Just a different terminology.
Yeah, that's all. Okay, then we have implement, where we get the work order, we do the manual change, we click implemented on device, and we validate. Okay, not a whole bunch to see. Maybe we'll run one and I'll show you how it works. So I'm going to do. Wait, went to sleep again. While we're waiting, does anybody remember from this morning where I can make object changes from in File Analyzer? You remember when we looked at the optimization report and we said we had empty or unattached objects, and we can highlight them and send them to Fireflow? This is exactly where they come. And what happens is when you click the button in Firewall Analyzer's optimization report to remove an object, it actually, behind the scenes, fills out an object change request form template. But what okay, let's do one of these. I am going to delete. Oh, hang on, I need to specify a device first. If I remember which one it is. This is very, very low tech. It's my memory. Okay. So we're going to go to, I'm actually going to go to my environment, not particularly this one, which isn't mine. This one might be mine. Yeah. I think that's it. Yes. Okay. All right, so we're going to do a new request and 130 object change request. And we'll choose Flower ASA. So I choose the device and then I can close the device box. I'm going to delete an object, and I could either just type the name if I know it, or I can double click and search for it. It starts with NS. It's this one. I can click on show, which will give me the value of the object. So yeah, that's the one I want. And we can just click OK. I can decide whether I want to do it just on Flower ASA or globally, if I have permission. And then I can submit it. Okay, so it's created the request, or it's creating the request. Here we go. Like we said, in an object change, we have plan, approve, implement, validate. There is no match stage. It tells me what the job is, what the task is: delete the network object NS WAN cord. I can, as always, see the descriptive data, information. But I want to find, are there rules that use that object? So I click Find Affected Rules. Okay, so on Flower ASA, there are actually 4 rules that have that object. It tells me which ones. Okay, and then I can actually go down and see the details of those rules. Now, if I go ahead, I'm going to delete the last object in here. It doesn't check to make sure that you're not going to do that, which is why it's a good idea to do the find related change requests. Make sure that you know what you're doing. And the impact could be that you break the rule because it's going to have no source. Anyway, for the sake of the demo, I'll go on. We're going to approve. Okay, nothing really for, as I said, security to do here other than say, yeah, I know that the network guy is going to delete NS1 called object. So if it ever comes back, at least I've seen it. Somebody complains about it, we know what happened. You can send out a message to whoever we need to, the requester. And we get to implement, we make the change we create the work order first. Yeah. All the workflows are a little bit different, some minor differences in them. So I get the work order, next. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then we'll go on and implement the change manually, and I'll say implementation done, even though I didn't, and then it will go validate and make sure that we did actually delete that object.
So one question on this stage. So in AlgoSec does not automate this update behavior for object groups. Correct.
Yeah. So okay. Exactly, Klaus. There isn't an active change for objects, although if you want to do it, you can actually trigger the API. There's an API call that will do that and push it out. And we use that from AppViz. We can actually do it from AppViz automatically, but from the UI here, you can't. I have no idea why. It's obviously possible. I guess it's just not urgently enough on the roadmap.
Okay, but to understand this correctly, the AppViz is a separate software module in AlgoSec.
Yes.
And if we bring AppViz to our tool composition, this might be possible in AppViz.
Yeah, we'll see tomorrow exactly why you would want how AppViz manages object changes. It's really quite cool. Well, I think it's kind of quite cool. So you'll see the scenario and how that happens. But remember, in AppViz, everything is from the perspective of an application, not really a rule.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm struggling a bit because maybe there's someone owner of a group. Let's call him owner of a group. There's one group. There are all NTP servers in a company listed in. And this one responsible for the NTP server decides to put a fourth or another NTP server into company's network.
Sure.
And I don't think that this guy has to be aware which firewall or which device is needed to be updated. So that's where I'm struggling a bit.
Okay. So tomorrow in AppViz, you will see how we would manage that. That's a really nice use case, Klaus, actually.
Okay. Then I'm gespannt for tomorrow.
Good stuff. All right. Before we just finish on this, I mentioned that we track SLA. It's actually fairly simple way we track it. And you can just see there's the green SLA button at the top. If you mouse over it, you can see how long we spent in each of the stages. You can see like if I put a due date for a change request, I can see how long it took, whether we hit that due date or not. So it's kind of simple. We can do dashboards that show how we're doing with SLA, but the basic idea is how long do we spend in being a new ticket? How long do we spend in the plan stage? How long do we spend in approve? Okay, so you can actually see, we can get a number for, on average, how long it takes the security team to approve change requests. So it's actually quite useful. Anyway, again, there is a lab for the object changes. You're welcome not to do it. Again, I think it's pretty straightforward. So we're now going to look, the last section is around some rule-related use cases. What if I want to remove a rule? Okay, one example might be, and again, we saw this morning in the optimization report, I see a redundant rule or a covered rule, and I click it and I said disable selected rule, if you remember. When you do that, it sends the information about that rule to Fireflow, and it populates the rule removal change request form. So that's one way. And we saw that, right? So we can disable selected rule, goes to Fireflow, and it fills out the template for rule cleanup, 140 rule removal request. And it actually says unused, disabled, covered, redundant special case, and unrouted rules. And for objects, this is the template that gets used for the object, unattached objects, empty objects, unrouted objects within rules. And when we do the resolve button in the traffic simulation query, it uses the template we specify here. This is all how it hangs together. Anyway, rules, rule removal. If I want to do a rule removal manually, my template says, okay, specify the device. Where do you want to remove the rule from? Okay, Daffodil SRX. Then you can select one or more rules. And then you say remove or disable. What's the action? Okay. If you're coming from Firewall Analyzer, from the optimization, it automatically chooses the disable action. Okay, you cannot directly remove a rule from Firewall Analyzer. It will go disabled first. For your peace of mind, just in case there's a mistake, it's easy enough just to re-enable it. Okay, so we've created the request. We have an approve stage. Again, I can't really do a traffic simulation query. It's pointless. So what happens in the approve stage is that we send a message, okay, to the owner of the original rule request. Whoever requested this rule originally, sending them a message saying, we're going to get rid of this rule, we're going to remove it, we're going to disable it. Do you still need it? And then hopefully the requester will get back to us. But we have this concept of a 14 days correspondence period where we can chat with or communicate with the requester, and they may say, okay, well, actually, I still need this, or no, I don't, and you can argue with them if you want. You don't have to wait the full 14 days. Okay, it's just a nominal number. Okay, if it's urgent that you remove the rule, you as the net admin or admin can just go, yeah, I'm going to approve that we're going to remove it. So you can override the correspondence. But the point is, at least we are reaching out and somebody else knows what we're going to do or what we're intending to do. You know, they're not going to find out the day afterwards when you've already disabled the rule. They're going to know beforehand, and yeah, that's the general idea. All right, so we approve it. Then we go on. In this case, Paul came back and said, yes, remove the rule. That's nice of him. Then we get to the implement stage. We have a work order. Please disable the rule. Here I can do active change, or manual if I don't have the license or didn't configure it properly, or the device doesn't support it. And then that's it. Pretty simple, nothing really else to see. Okay, again, the same point that I made earlier applies. Do you really have to go through this huge process just to disable a rule? Sure, you don't have to, but you are getting that level of auditability or governance that says, okay, now we've got the request, we've tried to contact the original requesters, the security team know that we're going to remove the rule. So if there is any fallout, you know, somebody complains about it after, we can say, yeah, but we did tell you, we did ask you. Yeah, we said, is it okay if we get rid of it? All right. Modification. I can use Fireflow to modify rules. Choose the firewall in the request template, choose one rule that I want to change. Then Fireflow will break out the fields of that rule. Source, user, if I will have it, destination, service, and the action. It lets me edit, in this case, source of any, destination, net access 04, service HTTPS. I can obviously delete one of the fields or modify it. I could add in net access 05, and I could add in HTTP to go alongside the HTTPS, whatever I need to do. Then we go forward. And basically, we do with the rule modification, we are now going to be able to run a risk check. What are the implications? What are the risks that might happen or would happen if I make the change to this rule? If I allow HTTP alongside HTTPS, what are the possible risks according to the risk profile that would be triggered? Okay. And as always, with our approved stage security, we'll look at it and say, yeah, okay, I know that's fine, or no, I'm going to reject it. Then we go ahead, implement, just like a regular rule creation, traffic change. Tells me, okay, I'm modifying on Flower ASA. It's going to go in this ACL, rule number 5. And these are the fields that I'm going to change. And of course, as always, write in the Fireflow number, and we can do active change, and we're done. The last rule piece that I think we're going to touch is rule recertification. What's all this about? If you remember, when I create a change request, I'll just do a standard one, I think. I've got an expiry date. I can set a lifetime for this change request. When this request, this ticket has been actioned, it's been implemented, let's say I set it 6 months into the future. 1 month before the expiry date, it's going to crop up, it's going to pop up on my home page. I'm not sure if I actually have any. Change request due to be recertified in the next, or to expire in the next 30 days. I don't have any. Okay. I do have change requests that are due to be recertified. They have passed their expiry date, and I need to take care of those, see if the traffic's still needed or not. That's the principle of rule recertification. We put a limit on the life, the validity of a traffic, and we can see in Fireflow change requests approaching their expiry date 1 month before. It'll show up in the queue. or change requests that have already expired and we want to do the recertification process for them. Okay, I ran into a couple of use cases for this. If you, let's say you have an outsourcer and they're working on some project for you and they need access to one of your servers to work on the project. They're creating some application and it's supposed to take 6 months. So you would create a rule for the outsourcer to access the server, but you would put a 6-month expiry on it. At 5 months, it's going to crop up into the queue. 1 month before, it's going to show up in the queue. Then you'll go through this recertification to see if the traffic is still needed, because sometimes the projects can overrun. Or no, maybe we finished the project early, yeah, all right, and we want to remove the traffic now. Okay, that's one use case. The other was, I found this with a couple of clients. There was actually a big computer company in Germany, and every change request that they created, they put an expiry 1 year in the future, and it forced them to review all their change requests once a year to see if that traffic was still needed or not. Okay, and I never really found out if it was due to data protection regulations in Germany. Maybe the guys from BWI know, but or it's just something that company had that policy. But every year they had to look at the change requests and see if the traffic was still needed or not.
I'm a little confused with this terminology of recertification.
Yeah.
Does it mean that the change request expires because it didn't go through the workflow?
It expires because it's gone past its expiry date. It's actually been implemented and it's working, but we put like a lifetime limit on it, 6 months or 1 year. Coming up to the end of that period, we're going to flag this. We're going to flag that change to say, do you still need it?
But I mean, you need it in the first place, right? So why would you want to review or revise or backtrack again? That sounds a bit.
No, we did need the traffic.
Yep.
But like we said, maybe it was a 6-month contract.
Okay, and that's
So when I'm getting to that 6 months, I need to check if I still need this or not.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
I understand. Thanks for that example.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Well, what happens if the recertification is not done at all?
No.
Yeah, is the rule deleted maybe 1 month after the expiry date automatically? Something like this.
Let's try and run one through. Okay. Let's say I reach the date or I go past the expiry date. I need to decide whether I want to keep this or remove it. Okay, and this is the case where it's already expired and I can force to recertify. I can click the button in ticket 885. I want to recertify the traffic in ticket 885. It will open a recertification request and let me run one through, and I think that's probably going to be easiest. So I've got some that are due to be recertified. They already expired. No. Like I used that 3 minutes ago, and it thinks it can go to sleep. Here we go. "19 change requests due to be recertified." All right. I am going to take this one. Green Pepper Project, ticket 543. It's really, really old. But it's gone past its expiry date. I'm going to say, all right, I want to recertify, see if this traffic is still needed. Recertify. Yes, next. Okay. So there is actually already a ticket open, 1919, to recertify 543. So I have a recertify open. Let's see what 1919 says. Okay, so this is the original traffic. I am recertifying 543, the Green Pepper project. I want to see if there were maybe some more tickets that were related to 543. Find related change requests. And yes, look. I have 543 was the original one. There was also ticket 544, additions to the Green Pepper project. Okay, so we'll do next. And we want to tell anybody who was involved that we're going to, we're recertifying it. So Ned was the owner of 543, Rachel was the owner of 544. I can add in additional people if I want to notify. Maybe Rachel got promoted and Bob took over. I can add Bob into the notification. You could do that. Then we'll say next. Okay, and we sent a message to Rachel and Ned saying, hey, we're recertifying your tickets. Is that okay? And then they should come back to us and say either that they still need the traffic or that no, they don't need the traffic and we can plan removal. Okay? Again, I can override it. I don't have to wait 14 days. I can override it and say, yeah, Rachel and Ned told me they still need the traffic. And then I can either manually extend the expiry date in the original tickets, or I think it sets automatically a year ahead. Okay. If it turns out that Rachel and Ned don't need that traffic anymore, we click plan removal, and then 1919 becomes a rule removal request for this traffic. In a moment. That's basically recertification. Yeah, recertification on that. Okay, next. I must choose at least one device. There aren't any devices, so I would choose some device. That's the idea anyway. We reached the end. We reached the end of the time period. Do we still need the traffic or not? Plan for removal or extend the expiry period. That's recertification. All right. Do we need a break?
Yes, please.
Okay, so let's take 15